Hello everybody, this is the Johnny Mayor, and welcome to my Viewer's Choice 1-year LPing anniversary celebration, which is actually going to be a Q&A video. So for my 1 year of Let's Playing anniversary, I asked my subscribers and viewers to tell me exactly what they wanted to see, and they chose a Q&A. And so many of them offered up a lot of really great questions that during this video I'm actually going to attempt to answer. And I also asked my viewers to give me some games to kind of show in the background. And so for those of you that did name some games, I'm going to try to show you at least a little snippet of each one. There is one exception. Can't Level Up, or Haley, asked for Super Meat Boy. A little bit trolly in that sense. I actually do not have Super Meat Boy, so I won't be able to play that. But the other 4 games that were requested, I should show at least a little bit of, and if there is any time left over after showing some of those games, then I will show a little bit of some other random games that I have. So look forward to that as we continue onward and we do this Q&A. So to start with, I'm going to start with, in order, the people who asked questions, and the first group of questions was asked by Haley, also known as Can't Level Up. And her first question is, what is your favorite LP that you have done of all time? And that is a very difficult question to answer because there are many of my Let's Plays that I enjoy. And I'm a little weird. I like to go back and rewatch my Let's Plays. Part of that is perfectionism. I like to tweak them and see how I can improve on them in the future when I do other projects. But some of it is just to kind of experience the actual games themselves. So I mean, I would say I don't really have a favorite. I like a lot of them. The one that comes to mind is the one I did recently, which is my co-op. And it was actually my first co-op video with my cousin Bob. And that was Turtles in Time Arcade. That one was a lot of fun to do with Bob. It's probably not my best in terms of informational or maybe even as entertaining as some of my others, but it's definitely comes to mind just because I did it recently. So that one is the one that comes to mind when I think of my favorite current Let's Play. What is your middle name, Trollface? My middle name is actually my dad's first name, and that is all I'm going to say about that. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is green. I also like black quite a bit. But that's not really a color, technically. I don't think anyway, according to science. So I'll go with green. And if you could travel anywhere in the world and end up stranded there for the rest of foreverness, where would it be and why? I like where I'm at. So basically, if I had to live somewhere forever, I don't mind living here. And we'll get into where that is in a little bit, since some other people asked about that. I would like to, of course, travel the world. I want to visit London and Europe, and I want to visit Japan, and maybe Australia or New Zealand eventually. But I wouldn't want to necessarily live there forever, so I would have to say, you know, it's not a great answer, probably, but the Midwest of the USA is a good place, and I'm going to stick around here, and I would stick around here. The second person to ask questions was Skyrim Dude, and he asked, what is your fave Zelda game? My favorite Zelda game is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And that is not just my favorite Zelda game, that is my favorite game of all time. So of any game, of any console, in any generation, that is my favorite. And it is the closest game that I have ever played to what I consider to be a perfect game. Alada115 asked, do you prefer RPGs or platformer games? That is a really tough question. I really like both genres with a passion. If I have to choose between the two, I would probably say role-playing games. Platformers tend to get kind of old. You're kind of doing the same things over and over, even if you switch it up and play different franchises. But RPGs, you know, you can have a completely different experience playing Persona, for example, versus a Final Fantasy, even from game to game, versus a game like Fire Emblem. So definitely, I think RPGs are my favorite. What is your favorite game of all time? The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And what is your favorite type of music? My favorite type of music is actually The it's been, I don't know if it has an official name, but it's kind of hard rock slash grunge rock slash alternative rock. It's kind of offbeat rock music. So I don't like popular rock, Nickelback, things like that, but I do like kind of smaller bands, although they're somewhat famous, like 3 Days Grace, Shinedown, etc. My favorite band of all time is actually Soundgarden, and I was really excited because recently they did a tour, and I was able to actually see them in concert, which is one of my kind of life goals because I wasn't able to see them back before they broke up, so that was really awesome to be able to finally see them in person. Next up, we have questions from Mystic Phoenix in 1992. First question, what made you become a teacher? Many of you are aware I am a teacher, and I became a teacher because I've always enjoyed teaching. I've always enjoyed kind of interacting with people. I enjoy kind of teaching other people and helping other people learn how to do certain things. I am a psychology teacher. It's an area that I've always been passionate about. And so I enjoy lecturing, I enjoy doing discussions, I enjoy finding kind of visual aids and things to help people learn. And I enjoy the challenge of helping students learn that material. Do you ever think about redoing a Let's Play? Not really. I kind of like my Let's Plays for the most part. I mean, some of my earlier ones I definitely cringe a little bit if I go back and watch them again. The only one I really would think about redoing is my Link's Awakening one, and that is not because of the actual content of it. It's mostly because of the Game Boy Player and the color scheme it came out with. So I played that game through my Game Boy Player on my GameCube, and the color scheme that was automatically picked, which is a salmon kind of pink with some blue and some green elements, because again, it's original Game Boy game, not the greatest. So I think that turned off some people and kept them from watching the series. So if I do redo a Let's Play, it'll probably be that one, and what I will do is probably go back and play the DX version of it. Are there any series besides Mega Man and Castlevania you're interested in doing blind? I'll also add to that Punch-Out, and, well, I did Rystar blind. That was my first blind Let's Play. And Mega Man and Castlevania aren't necessarily blind in the sense that I have seen the games and seen other people play them, but they are first experiences for me personally, because I've never played them before. And I like that. I like going back and playing series that I never got to experience, like the Contra series, for example, is one that I'm hoping to do in the near future. And so definitely, I'm not sure I'll do them blind per se, without having any experience with them, but I definitely enjoy kind of doing a Let's Play where you all get to see me experience the game for the first time. And I think Punch-Out was a great example of that. A lot of people seem to like that series, because that was a very tough game, especially once I got to Mr. Dream, and I think people enjoyed kind of seeing me struggle with that. What is your favorite Let's Play that you've done and why? Again, very difficult question to answer. Many of my Let's Plays are my favorites for certain reasons. I really like my Metal Gear Solid Let's Play for a couple different reasons. Final Fantasy VI. The newest kind of co-op Let's Play that I did came to mind when I answered a similar question to this. If I had to pick kind of one favorite Let's Play, it would probably be my original one, which is Final Fantasy VI Advance. That was the kind of gaming experience that defined my channel for the first 8 or 9 months of it. And it kind of shows the progression of me as a Let's Player from the very first videos I ever did to kind of much later in my experience where I was improving my commentary, improving my ability to present kind of visually the material, and also my editing ability. So if I have to pick one, I would say that is the one. And what is your favorite guilty pleasure when it comes to food? I have a lot of them. I like barbecue a lot. I like fried chicken a lot. I like ice cream a lot. Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia. But I would say my favorite guilty pleasure when it comes to food is something called monkey bread. And that is basically dough, sugar, brown sugar, cinnamon and butter. And you bake all that up into a nice little package and you eat it, and it is very, very good. And my wife and I will make that occasionally. It's always a great experience when we do, and I really enjoy it. So that is probably my guilty pleasure when it comes to food. The Busta44 asked, what part of the world are you from? I am from the United States of America. I am a USA citizen, and I am actually from the Midwest in the United States, from the state of Wisconsin. The guy Rasaru, or Kevin, asked me, what got you into Let's Playing? Basically, the reason I got into Let's Playing is because of two influences. The first was a Resident Evil 4 kind of walkthrough, Let's Play, kind of gameplay video that was done when I was trying to kind of get through the game. I was having a really hard time with that game, and basically I was struggling with it, and so I went online, watched some videos of it, really enjoyed the series, and from that I actually found a Necroscope86, which is a medium Let's Player in terms of popularity, and basically really enjoyed his stuff. And so when I watched more of his videos, I kind of liked the idea of sharing experiences with games, sharing kind of my insight, but also informing people about games. And so providing kind of expert experience and helping people through games that they might be struggling with. So that's why you're going to see a lot of walkthroughs on my channel, because I like to kind of have that for people, and I've gotten a lot of feedback that people enjoy my walkthroughs a lot. So I got into Let's Playing for those reasons, to kind of share my gaming experiences, meet other people that enjoy games and specifically talk about those games, and also inform and help people out that might be struggling with games. What are your favorite role-playing games? I have a ton. I mean, I love the Final Fantasy series, I love the Persona series, I am a huge JRPG fan, I love the Lunar series, or Lunar, depending on who you're talking to. I like tactical RPGs, so like Tactics Ogre, Fire Emblem, Advance Wars, etc., etc., etc. So you name an RPG series, chances are I enjoy it, or at least one game from that series. If I had to pick one series, I would probably say Final Fantasy. It's a series that, again, has kind of defined my kind of life as a role-playing gamer. And it was one of the first, not the first role-playing game I played, but one of the first that I played, and it really got me into the genre. Have you ever considered doing Let's Plays of other handheld games like the PSP, Game Boy Color, or Sega Game Gear? Yes, I'm actually going to be getting a PSP very soon, and I'm doing that so that I can actually do Final Fantasy III when I get to it. I'm going in order, so I'm doing 1 now, I'll do 2, and then I want to do 3 eventually. And that is one of the ways I can actually do it, by using the PSP and a component cable through my PVR. I have Game Boy Color games. I will be playing games from that system through my Game Boy player eventually. Probably not the Game Gear. I don't have a Game Gear. I don't really have a way to record Game Gear games. And I don't use emulators, so chances are, yes, I'll be using other systems like the PSP, but not any systems that I don't have or I can't record. Who are your favorite video game characters, a male and a female? My favorite male character of any video game would have to be Link. I mean, that's pretty apparent. I love the Legend of Zelda series, and Link is the main character of that series. I also like Edgar a lot from Final Fantasy VI, and I also really like the Alex character from the original Lunar. My favorite female characters, I like Rydia a lot from Final Fantasy IV, I like Celeste and Terra a lot from Final Fantasy VI, and to a lesser extent, I like Jessica and Luna from Lunar 1. But, you know, a lot of that is going to be old school, because those are the games I've played the most, and so those are the characters that kind of come to mind a lot. Who's your favorite big LPer and small LPer? Uh, Again, I don't exactly know how to define that. I don't really have a favorite big LPer. I don't really watch any of the big names like PewDiePie or Chugga Conroy or any of those people. I've never really gotten into their videos. But like I said, Necroscope86, he's around 40,000 subscribers. I will occasionally watch an HC Bailey video if he's doing a series that, you know, intrigues me, but I don't watch him very often either. In terms of smaller Let's Players, and the next question is, who do you enjoy watching besides myself, meaning him? And I do enjoy watching you, Kevin. I enjoy watching tons of people. So I have a whole bunch of people that I follow. I have tons of subscriptions on YouTube. A big part of my day each day is watching other people's videos. A lot of you that follow me, I also like watching your videos and I enjoy it, and I tend to actually go a little crazy sometimes commenting on videos, so I apologize for that if that's a little overwhelming at times, but thank you for bearing with me with that. But basically a lot of people from LPS, the Let's Play Sanctuary, you know, that are people that I enjoy watching. Names that come to mind, people like Avok, the Dapper Jester, Nakuso, Novell the Reanimator. You know, I could name people for the next hour if I wanted to, and I would feel really bad by doing that because I will probably miss some people that I watch regularly. So, you know, all of you out there that I regularly watch, you know who you are. And I enjoy your videos a lot. So thank you for producing those videos and bringing me that entertainment and enjoyment. Gaming Super Bro asked me to be or not to be. And I actually got this question too on my original Q&A back when I hit 10,000 views from Dan Bam Pow. And my answer to that question is always to be. I've always interpreted that question as, you know, do you want to do something or would you rather wait and have something happen for you? And I'm always very proactive about stuff. So I'm going to go out there, I'm going to try things, I'm going to do things and try to become the very best in the immortal words of the Pokemon animation, cartoon, etc. Y2860 asks, if you could bring back a franchise that didn't reach the potential that it could, what game or games would that be? That's another tough one. There are some really great franchises that I've played that haven't had a ton of games in them. The one that kind of comes to mind that I really enjoyed, although it is an acquired taste and it is not for everybody, is Xenosaga. So Xenosaga is a 3-game series for the PS2, I think, that was originally supposed to be a 5-game series, but it didn't do very well in terms of sales, and so they actually cut the game down significantly and crammed it all into a 3-game series. It is heavy on cinemas and FMVs. If you think Metal Gear Solid is heavy, you should play Xenosaga. We're talking, and I'm being serious here, 30, 40, 50 minutes sometime FMVs where you just sit there and watch the story unfolding. And I like that. I like that experience of kind of playing a movie, or, you know, that immersiveness of that, but it is definitely not for everybody. And so I would have loved to see that series get its full 5 games, because the story definitely seems rushed, and it seems like they were really pushing to end the game in the 3rd game. And so I wasn't 100% happy with the way the series ended. Do you have any bucket list games that you would like to play? I have tons. Way too many to name. I am constantly trying to play games that I, you know, have never experienced from past generations, from current generations, and Castlevania, Mega Man. These are all Punch-Out. These are examples of games that were on my bucket list that I've been able to play recently. A couple bigger ones that come to mind are the Mass Effect series. I haven't ever played that series. I want to play that. I know a lot of people really love it. Ico and Shadow of Colossus, I want to play those as well. And I really want to play the games for the Wii that came over in Operation Rainfall, I think it was called. So The Last Story, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Pandora's Tower. I actually have all three of those games, but I haven't really played them very much. So I'm definitely going to get to those games at some point. If you had no choice and had to pick one of the following to be your wingman, who would you pick? Kratos or Zangief? I don't know how you can pick Kratos. Kratos would probably just slaughter everybody, and so he's not going to be a very good wingman. Zangief at least seems to be somewhat fun. So I'm going to go with Zangief, and I'm going to assume that you mean Zangief from Street Fighter and not the pro wrestler. But maybe you mean the pro wrestler, in which case he's not as much fun. But I would still pick him over Kratos because Kratos is probably just going to kill everybody if they piss him off. So we'll go with Zangief. What's something you like that everyone else doesn't, or vice versa? I'm not sure there's anything I like that is kind of universally hated by everybody else. But I'm not a huge fan of FPSs, so first-person shooters. Really, the only series that I enjoy that is an FPS, sort of, is Fallout. So Fallout 3 and New Vegas. And that is mainly because it has the RPG aspects and VATS. If it didn't have that, I probably wouldn't like it as much. But I'm not into war games, so I don't like Medal of Honor, I don't like Call of Duty, I don't like Battlefront, etc., etc., etc. And so you're never going to see me play those types of games, probably. And that is a very popular genre that I'm just not really into. What is the first video game that you ever played? My first video game ever was actually Pac-Man. I played that at a hotel/restaurant that was near my house when I was growing up, probably around age 5 or 6, I would say. They had an arcade cabinet with Pac-Man and also Space Invaders. And so I would play that there once in a while during dinner and stuff like that when we were waiting to get a table. Also, the Pizza Hut in our area had Street Fighter 2, Excite Bike, and the WWF Slam Masters, I think it was called. Something like that. It was a WWF kind of arcade game. And so I would play those occasionally as well when we would go to Pizza Hut, but that wasn't as often as the other restaurant. Now, in terms of home consoles, the first game I played was actually Super Mario Land / Tetris for the Game Boy. Because I got a Game Boy when I was younger, and that was my first system ever. And I alternated between playing Tetris and Super Mario Land. I actually didn't get a NES until much later. I was mostly a Game Boy player at first. And so I played games like Spider-Man. I can't think of any of the other early kind of Game Boy games that were around that I had. Maybe I had a Madden game, NBA Jam. Those games kind of come to mind. Link's Awakening, of course. Final Fantasy Adventure, Legend, etc., etc., etc. The timing, I can't quite think of that. But my first console game that I played was Super Mario Brothers, and that is the game that really sold me on gaming. Once I played that, I was hooked. And so it wasn't before that, I just kind of did it a little bit off and on. Once I played Super Mario Brothers, I was hooked on video gaming. Ashay10X, or just Ashay, asked, if you had to choose one game for the rest of your life to play, what would it be? And I can choose 2 if I'm desperate. That's tough, obviously. I'm not sure there's one game that I could play for the rest of my life and enjoy. The games I go back to and play the most over and over and over again are Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Final Fantasy Tactics. So I play those a couple of times each year. I get the urge to play those. But the scope of both of them is not necessarily something that I could play for my entire life and be entertained just off that game, especially since I played it so much already. So I would probably pick a game like Fallout or The Elder Scrolls, one of those games. Kind of a bigger game where it's kind of an open environment where you can just keep playing and keep playing. So maybe Skyrim. I haven't actually played Skyrim yet. But Fallout 3, maybe New Vegas, maybe Fallout 4, whenever that comes out. That might be a choice. And secondly, any plans for playing the latest Resident Evil and or Final Fantasy games in the near future? I am going to get through all the Final Fantasy games eventually. The main series anyway. So I will play all the way up through 13. I'm debating whether or not to play the offshoot games like 10-2, 13-2, etc. I have not beaten 13. It's the only one in the series so far I haven't beaten, and 13-2, I guess, since I haven't beaten 13. So eventually I'm going to have to do that. But in the near future, no. That's going to take a while for me to get to, because the Final Fantasies are very long games. I like to do complete walkthroughs. So each one's is going to take probably around 6 months to maybe 9 or 10 months to finish. So it's going to take a while for me to get to the newer ones. And of course, we're going to have new ones coming out, so those will get added to the list. Now, Resident Evil, I don't really like what I see about Resident Evil 5 or 6 or any of the newer games. I am very much an old school Resident Evil player. I like the original games in the series up through Code Veronica X. And to a lesser extent, I like Resident Evil 4. I would put it up there. It's an enjoyable experience. But 5 and 6, Operation Raccoon City, Revelations, I think, was the one on the ship recently. That was the DS, and then they redid it for PlayStation 3. Maybe I'll get to those eventually, but I'm doing them in order again, like Final Fantasy. So I'm moving on to Resident Evil 2 next. And again, I like to do complete, so not the near future. It's going to take a while for me to get to those. Uriah231 asks, have you ever considered racing subscribers at some games? Definitely. I'm doing my Johnny vs. Noel Challenge series right now, so I definitely enjoy competition. And so I've kind of thought about that actually. I was originally going to start like a challenge Friday where, I offered a challenge out to viewers to kind of take on, and we would compete against each other. In terms of races, where you record at the same time and try to finish a game, I've had some ideas of that to do some races, but they've kind of fell through, so I haven't been able to kind of work that out yet. To do kind of a co-op commentary or a race like that, it would have to be someone that I felt comfortable with doing commentary. And so if I feel like I know you well enough, if I feel like we have good chemistry, definitely I would be open to maybe doing a co-op video or a race, or even just doing a challenge series once I'm finished with the Johnny vs. Noel series. So that is definitely something that I'm open to eventually. What's my favorite movie of all time? That's tough. I have a lot of favorite movies. If I have to pick one, it would be Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But I definitely would put the Lord of the Rings trilogy just below that. So those are my two kind of favorite movie series. What is my favorite game weapon of all time? Probably the Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. I like the idea of the Master Sword, kind of this magical enchanted blade that you can use to, basically defeat any type of evil. So, yeah, that's probably my favorite weapon. And who is my 4-character survival team, either real people or in a game, for any circumstance? That's a tough one. 4-character survival team. Well, I'd want Kratos, because Kratos can basically do just about anything. He can take out just about anything. So if there's any type of threat, probably Kratos can take it out. Now, I don't know if he would be much of a team player, but here's hoping. I'd want kind of a medic or magic user to be able to heal people. So that would be Celeste or Terra or Rydia. Lulu's not a medic, but you can teach her, cure spells by using the sphere grid. which I end up doing anyway. I like having multiple healers in Final Fantasy X. But someone like Lulu, I like the eye candy, so having a beautiful woman along that can heal us, that would be nice. Beyond that, we're pretty good. I'd throw in Link. He's pretty good in any situation. He's good at overcoming the odds. And I don't know who else I would pick. That's a pretty good team for me. Maybe Kirby. So if there's anything that, Kratos can't take care of, then Kirby can just suck it up and either absorb it or take its power, whatever its weakness might be, and just use it against it. So Kratos, Kirby, a female magic user, and Link. There's my survival team.